praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Alakar Kadash, double order to the apostles and elders, the great Son of Juan, but alright, we Hebrew Israelites coming every week to prophesy the downfall of the kingdom according to prophecy inside of the Holy Bible. Alright, we are in this day, in the last days, 2023, the hopeful year. Alright, it's short. And we're basically letting, we're blowing the trumpet. Your inheritance gets restored unto you. But that happens in the day of atonement, right? Because you have to bring out the trumpet for the year of Jubilee and blow that for the year of Jubilee. And after the day of atonement, then your gifts will be restored unto you, your inheritance will be restored unto you. Now, when you deal with it on a spiritual level, when you deal with when the Lord returns, says he returns, even the fact that it's 7 times 7 in a year, being 49, right? I'm thinking about 6 times 6, 48, but 7 times 7 is 49, or 42, should I say. Basically, what you have is it's similar to, you know, the 7th trump and things of that nature. So basically, it's like the trumpet will blow and the Lord is going to basically come back and restore us back to our true standard of how we're meant to be within the earth, right, within the universe. He also is going to, you know, gain his inheritance. So I even did a video last week about the high holy days, about them being times, them being sanctified as high, for a specific reason. So this time is a heavy time, man, and that speaks to you know, a figure of things to come. And that's why even when you deal with it right now, what you have happening, you had the BRICS gaining more strength on economic forum. You know, they're saying that, you know, there's on all of our reds, they're saying that they can't really say what they're going to do, how much they're going to, you know, become a problem to those within the world standard. All it shows is that they're forming more of a grouping that can only, you know, build up wealth and have different, between their resources among them, they can have more pull on the world stage and show the reigning of the power of America. Babylon the Great, it really shows the circle and the drain. Right, you want anything?
Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in it, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds will turn after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look at out the windows be darkened. Yeah, essentially, you know, we're meant to come into this truth, be aware, you know, return before what? Before the judgment, before everything hits the fan. Because as far as for now, you can see everything's slotting into place. All the different gears in the background are now grinding to where it looks like anyone with any kind of sense, financially, things are looking sideways. Militarily, is what with what's called Ukraine joining NATO, then essentially you have everything laid out for World War III to pop off. And with the price break, those technologies are being spoken of more and more. And you have what? AI pick off to where now it's what? Like that's everyone's looking at these technologies going forward, thinking, yo, how can we use it? First thing, well, what's his name said? Elon Musk said was what about fusing with AI? So now all these different prophecies ahead, essentially about to be fulfilled, it's about to come together. So then what you know, as we're looking at you know, looking for answers as far as, you know, what you need to do, how to deal with it. But you know, there's very few people that actually have that level of awareness to where they're taking it like, yo, what's going on? It seems a bit different. It says what? And the doors shall, verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. So yeah, the grinding is going to be low. There's a key thing that keeps this kingdom running is what? The business, the monetary, the essential lifestyle you contain through money, man, through selling goods. And that's a big part of what draws people to that. They come here because they're thinking about what? Success, money, being able to look after their family, provide for them, set themselves up, you know, going forward to where they can gain from it. And that's what pulls people migrate there from you know, to the Western world, to the UK, US primarily, is what is making money. So that draw, that big appeal, that's also going to be what you know, to their doom go down with.
Yeah, the wicked go hand join the hand. The wicked shall not go unpunished. Because basically we have a lot of people doing, and this is like what we've been mentioning for the past however so long. Alright, but basically the whole presentation of UAPs, UFOs and things of that nature, the idea of aliens, is for the sole purpose of what? It's to basically openly allow people, make it as to where all the people, the minds of the people, mainly Israel as well, basically look at, you know, the objects of salvation, Yahweh, Hashem, 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 as what? Enemies. Alright? And they're basically openly join hand in hand in Esau. But even prior to that, that being false, we also have what? The idea of cryptocurrency, which is really going to form a dimensional intellect. And crypto before main direction with crypto is what? Everyone believes that they get rich. They can create generational wealth. They can basically become the founding father of their generation and then be that Mount Rushmore, or be part of the so-called Mount Rushmore to the establishing of their house, so they can look back and say, oh yeah, my forefather, you know, Obawale, Adewale, or Kwaku, or Winston Shelley, Winston and his wife Shelley Ann, I had to throw it to Benjamin, or Lamar Jackson, you know, they were the founding fathers of our household, and now we are rich and abundant. They're just like the Rothschild, Rockefellers, the Carnegie family, and that's what they're selling to the people. So the internet to that will be the CBDC, ubiquitous technology, you know, investing in certain things and putting your money in that, things of that nature. So you can basically have your part to play with this being an established individual within this world. And guess what? Now we're equal to Esau. We don't look down on him. He respects us as individuals. That, you know, Black Philly. That's the sound you heard. I mean, Black Philly. Oh, okay. That's what I heard. Okay. That's why they're
and then, you know, I'll cross.
Isaiah 13:14 says, and it shall be as the chase grow, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So yeah, anyone that's you know, gonna roll with them, anyone's gonna be down. And that's the thing. The big thing is everyone's invested in this system, in this kingdom. They're thinking about going forward. They're putting money in the stock market, assuming over time it's going to go up. They're thinking like, as far as for the terms of their life, will be to their benefit to, you know, to invest, to have money going forward. Because hey, it's you know, it's all going to work out essentially. But that's, you know, that trust that's going to be this. What you got saying?
No, I'm looking.
Revelation 18. I'll read from verse 9. It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication with her and lived deliciously shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing far off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. For no man buys their merchandise. Silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen, and purple and silk and scarlet, and all fine wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble. All those goods, all these different products, all these different things you can sell and get rich from. These things are what draw, that's a big part of the allure of America, man. America's that big whore, that big slag. Slow, that's it, yeah. Big whore, slag. Should have been slow. That big slaw that everyone can deal with. Why? Because it gets them cash money. They get paid off. They'll essentially be able to finance themselves off the back of America. And then that will result in what? They'll nice themselves off the back of America. And hey, that'll fund their lifestyle. But once, you know, that capability rises up, man, then what? They're decimated, man. Psychologically, they're going to be destroyed. It says what? Verse 13, and cinnamon and odors and ointments, and frankincense and wine and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee. Thou shalt find them no more all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold, precious stones, and pearls. And yeah, that's really how America's viewed. The personification personification of America is Colombia. That woman with the flag and whatnot around her, where that, you know, that comely and delicate woman. That's how people view America. In a modern sense, it'd be like something like Marilyn Monroe, like some kind of celebrity. I don't know, any kind of female celebrity. There's shit.
Probably like Jenner, Kylie Jenner.
Oh, yeah.
Emily, whatever,
Bradley,
no one of them.
Bratton, yeah, the super Eastern European surname. Which are the cities? Yeah, the cities the thingy video. Robin Smith,
I would see it, then I kind of looked at it, I get kind of even like this. I get that. I should be
a masterpiece from Marvel by fucking what's the plastic surgeon, man.
that's more Kylie.
Was it? I think, but
Kendall maybe because she doesn't look like she was
Kylie was transformed.
Yeah, she was transformed from a no lips to the man.
Yeah, it was like you see the thing. But seeing her on the show, like when she was like 13, and I was like, Jesus, I was like, oh, wait, that's the same person. I was like, God damn. And she was telling me.
Yeah, let me read this. All right. This is from the Financial Times. The headline reads: "The transfer of wealth from boomers to millennials, which is basically the boomers, Generation Z, and millennials. It says will reshape the global economy." So I'm gonna jump down to the point. All right. Goes into what we're reading about. It says many millennials, what's the portmanteau for millennials and Gen Z? Portmanteau. That's why I need your Rama, brother. That's why I need your Rama, brother. It's my brother, you know. That's why I need you around. I'll be sounding like I got no sense. So they had too much hope. Yo, it's beautiful. Don't worry, man. My favorite. Anyway, so it says, have an iconoclastic view of view of the global market economy. It says in this book, there are many who are anticipating the decline in influence of boomers with a reverse bleed, because with the gatekeepers gone, we'll finally be able to burn the whole system to the ground. Who's the gatekeepers? You know, people like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, these ones, Gates, these different financial families, all right, and basically, you know, standing away, even over here, the Goldsmith family, all these different families with an open market through cryptocurrency, basically allows the average individual that really has smarts and that gets like, you know, heads put away so that they can't get into the system, they can now make way for themselves and wield some kind of power and secure themselves within society, right? That's what they're perceiving from the current things going on with the financial market. So it says Costa fears the next, I've read that already. So it says Costa explains the point in the interview. The transfer of wealth is going to have millennials to give millennials enormous financial power. They will have influence never before on their peers, as well as the ability to influence corporations, societies, and governments. And this reminds me of New Gods, where they showed how basically you had American Gods, where you had the new gods come into play, and the traditional ones were feeling them to burn. And then even reminds me of there's an article, I've got it in my same beside it, but it's talking about the influence of people like Elon Musk, the techs, how they basically before. So it says Costa's central thesis is that the millennials are economically and culturally more left-wing than their predecessors and are favoring redistributive justice over wealth creation.
So they get money and then they forget about it.
That's right.
There was, you know, there was like.
But that's the idea.
Yeah.
Go. Say it loud.
She had what you call it, a t-shirt that said "Most Money Sanders." The guy. Yeah. And then like she went viral on the beat, just like singing and dancing to OK, the OK Google song. It's called OK Google song. So she was like obviously so traditional when before she blew up. Then she obviously got a shitload of money. Then she started doing videos about like the new mansion, cars, all the money she made. And then I was like, oh, nonsense. Oh, you're still socialist. She's like, well, you know, I think this like maybe we should. I'm like, man, until they get money. When they're broke, then you know they'll hold on to that
average.
You know, average. Yeah. Then it's like when they get any of them actually get success, they get business, they make money. They turn into, you know, like
B11.
The
founders of B11.
Oh yeah. What's her name? Yeah.
They got that money.
They keep buying mansions and
this is the point, but the main point is, I'll read it again, it's the idea, it's the thesis stuff. The idea that they have the ability to basically redistribute wealth and set up everyone being equal, having equal standing within the earth. That's the mindset where everyone's going to buy into. And whatever is presented before them, that only is going to play out in public. The general public, that's the ultimate part of where it says, go hand join in hand, the wicked shall go unpunished. Because we're moving up to the road about the wicked shall be the poor, or the burden in Job 20. Basically, that's what's going to cultivate the minds of the people all coming together and bow the knee to come down into the beat system. So I'll read it again. So it says, quintessential thesis is that millennials are economically and culturally more left-wing than their predecessors and are favoring redistributive justice over wealth creation. He says that the pendulum has swung from a generation of greedy individualism to a more collectivist idealism, which threatens to lead to a wealth-destroying economic system. That's the point.
This is funny with that shit. Send it to me. Alright. Because with that, it's like something. It's because in uni, when people go uni, that's where that mindset is most prevalent.
Oh yeah.
Socialist kind of mindset. It's like I know people I know that when they're in uni, those socialists, they all kind of got into that circle because it's prevalent. It's hot. It's talk to people that are just in uni, out of uni. They all vote Labour. They all talk about blah blah blah. We need social programs.
It's a very liberal left-wing
environment. Yeah, but then it's like they go out into the real world, start working jobs, starting to grind, pay bills. Once they start getting the tax coming out of their paycheck, that's when they start moving the fuck. Because but then the mindset is it's got traction because it sounds good. It sounds sweet on the tongue. So, what it say? Okay, yeah. Ecclesiastes 2 and 4 says, I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards. And I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruit. I made me pools of water to water therewith the wood, bringing forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also, I had great possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold and the peculiar treasures of kings and of provinces. I got me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me, and whatsoever my desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and that was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. Yeah, so even through gain and all that, it was all vanity. That's the thing, is what they've been trying to accomplish, where it's you're not going to have everyone just equally gets given wealth. That's not even something that can be accomplished. All these different mindsets, most of these things came about in like 1800s, when there was the so-called Enlightenment, as they refer to it, where all these different ideologies came together. But then it's as far as we've already seen one for for the socialist communist mindset. You end up in the gulag, man. You end up like getting what was it called? The purges, man. Stalin's purges, man. It's like, yo, everyone's equal underneath, man.
You know there's a view like it right now.
Yeah.
I'm saying you know there's a view like it right now. El Salvador. They got like prison in a couple of years.
Well, that's why it's like its own ecosystem. But that's like the whole, all these ideas.
And that's even MS-30 when they moved up to California, they were precious. Them Bloods and Crips, you know, from what I see on the documentaries a couple of years ago, it's actually when I was 12. I remember I was hearing about it when they were saying, when they were, you know, banging on Bloods and Crips, with MK, you know, when they banged with the
Yeah.
when MK was they were killed. They were just going through the MS-30. I remember the first time I heard about MS-13 and seeing man tatted on their face. Like even remembering over here, you get over in the UK, the main tats back in the day was like jailbird tats. You'd have like old chocolate white men with sparrows on their hands, on their forearms. But it'd be jailbird free. And you'd have like tear or the teardrop, man would have that. I mean, like, you like you might have bodied someone or something like that. But those were like the most, you know, like that teardrop was the most graphic fucking type. Even you have people with the lips on their neck, you know, the lips type, or they'd have the prayer hand on their neck. Their man would have that shit, or they'd have mum on their neck. But when I see a face tattoo with that MS-13 boy, that was scary, man. Aliens, man. But yeah, this is what I had from before. Psalm 60 and 8. Moab is my wash pot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Alright? Philistine triumph thou because of me. But the point, let me read the point. It says Moab is my wash pot. Now when you deal with the BRICS nation, the helm, even funny enough, because of the not arrest, the charges out on Putin, he couldn't be at the recent summit. We had Xi Jinping heading the group together, right? But that's quite significant. Those two nations dealing with Russia, China, they stand to the great fooling of what? Of America, right? That's why it says here, Psalm 68, Moab is my wash pot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Alright, so ultimately the Heavenly Father is going to use Moab as a wash pot of Edom, the so-called white man. And that's what you're seeing with their, in terms of cars and various different things. They're great exports. Alongside not only their music, like denim comes from America, all these different kind of things go back to America. But now they've turned into a consumer nation. Right, it's funny because I saw a clip of Kanye at the Grammys or something, and he's speaking about imagery and how powerful imagery. You know, Kanye gets into his bag once in a while. But basically, he's like saying, yeah, you got to withhold certain information from your children because there'll be like images within images that'll be coercing the minds of your children, all right, and making them become consumers and want to have things that they don't need to have, all right? So he's basically saying that, and then he spoke to the fact of, to the point of, what did he say in that? The point being is that America ultimately has turned into a consumer nation, all right? And that's food, and this is what's allowed Moab being the so-called Chinese to have the power that they have. So Psalm 60 and 8, Moab is my wash pot. So this is by the Heavenly Father. He's using it to wash out, to rinse America. All right. Over Edom when I cast out my shoe, which ultimately is going to destroy Edom. Right. This is the things we're seeing going on right now. And this is This is why we're seeing a degradation of the nation of America.
Ecclesiastes 2 and 18 says, Yea, I hated all my labor, which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. This is talking about what, the boomers, and then the Gen Z and the millennials afterwards. Because it's the same, that's going back to the same thing with multiple generations. Yeah, Rehoboam, because when he came in, he did what? He had the men that had been advising Solomon. Old men.
Imagine that, the greatest kings that ever walked at that time, right before Yahweh Shai's wisdom, came upon earth. But you imagine the camps, they stood before the face of the Lord, man, the Son of the Heavenly Father, right, in his being at that moment, and they heard his great judgment. Just go back to his first judgment, man, where the woman came with a child and he said, my sword, so I'll give half to you and half to you. Then the woman said, please now have the child, and I would say, yes, Kyle. Do the judgment there, that's the child, take the child. And everyone gasped and was informed. Never had they seen judgment like before. You had men sitting before Solomon, carrying jewels and gems you could only imagine. Great wisdom. And then his son, as the brother saying, he was for gold, their wisdom.
That's been how the generations are. You get this, it's like what they call it, adolescence, through the process of adolescence coming into adulthood. That's where it's like, people, especially you see with kids around 12, 13, they'll start working out a few things. They'll start thinking they know everything.
Actually, adolescence, when you go through your pilgrimage, when you're learning, your apprenticeship, that's usually when you're under your apprenticeship. You turn into a man, then you become an apprentice. But I was looking for apprenticeship. You might have another word to express it. I know your vocabulary is very deep and extensive. It's exhausting. I'm still learning. Even like now, man's with 30. It's just like, man, I feel like a young man, Like, I've got a lot to learn. I don't think I'll come into my own until like 50. Where I can really say some real, speak some real things to the young black
I
people.
feel like I get more because you're listening to
Saying rap lyrics, huh? you know what I'm talking about. Freedom. I see my whole earth. It says young black people. Respect your decks as a person.
Says, Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor, wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Yeah, so all that work you put in, well, there's a term that's been in use recently, it's called nepotism babies. So that's all the kids of like famous actors, musicians, whatever. People that have success, then it's those that basically find a way to let their kids, feel like they have success. So like, people back in the sun, they're saying like, this guy's trying to be a chef, but he's fucking absolutely abysmal. Like, he doesn't even have anywhere near talent. He's trying to do it. It's like actresses, like Emma Roberts, like Julia Roberts' niece or whatever. And then she got, deals off that. There was various, like, multiple, like, hundreds of them. It's living around Hollywood. Because why? Because it's like, that's why it's like, everyone, whenever they're trying, like I said, it's like people doing all this work. generally they're gonna do it for the sake of their kids. They're thinking like, oh, I want you to have a better life. So if they get success, of course they're gonna use their youth to get, to get a piece.
Well, he said in the word, man, great, I forget how it's worded, but it says leave an inheritance to the children. So really, if you're a great individual, you have an inheritance over your children's children. Alright? So basically, this is the funny thing about it. It's one of those kind of things where there's nothing, there's something right with it, but being in this wicked kingdom where said, they'll put their children for the right education system, the right kind of what's the word? The right practices to make them be on the same level as their forefather was, So that's where you have a lot of these individuals like I'm speaking about are out here and they're moving the way they are. And it's even funny because you say that, because like areas like, that place where everything's supposed to be, where I live, yeah. You have a lot of people like that running around them. They feel like they're, I don't know you, but they can find out later on, oh, that's so-and-so's daughter. That's so-and-so's son.
Oh, it's like Tamara Hiddleston, but
yeah.
She was just like, her dad's rich, that's it.
Like you see them type of people over in that area, and you be thinking like, who the fuck are you? And then you find out later, oh shit, you owe money. But then you ain't got nothing like, you're not wavy, like you're not interested. And I'm saying it because I've been around, I grew up with you guys, great fucking, Jacob, man. I know some interesting fucking individuals. And then you meet these other people, and they're like, what the fuck, man? You just come from money, you ain't a good time, like that guy is entertaining. Part life, that guy is too funny. But he was fooling me, gang member. I say gang member, but he's really just a road man. Right? Man that grew up on the road, that type of stuff.
Gang.
Road man. I know that's why I have to correct myself. We don't really have gangs over there. Yeah, we don't have gangs like that. Right, even though they call us gangs today, but it's really like true way it was just road individuals and collective people. It's funny because quick I was watching and saying like, yeah, this guy, he's like the biggest podcaster right now. Where it's really just shows that they have a lot to offer, like just the circumstances they line up just make them become these kind of things, right? We're deviating I'm deviating from the point. The main thing is that these these things are passed down. Because I got
Verse 19, and who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor, wherein I have labored, and where I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. But there is a man whose labor is in wisdom, and in knowledge, and in equity. Yet to a man that hath not labored therein, shall he leave for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. And yeah, that's the thing. When you get into a position of prominence, get into, utilizing skill to attain wealth, fame, success in various fields, that's something that requires a particular kind of person. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're used, they're inherent, and they're not going to be the same person. They're going to be on their own shit. So it's like you'll have times because, like, what's his name? Denzel's view.
I know David Washington.
David John David.
Something like that.
Yeah, one of it's like a double barrel name. Yeah. Like he's talented as well. He's shown that he can act. He's not the same. He's not able to do what Denzel. But he's shown, he can do what he can do. But then that's why it's like you'll have you'll have people that have skills, but then that's the thing. It's like the level that Solomon got to, like he went into this legendary level of prominence that no one before gained, and now he's getting that. Like he's in any way close to having attained it. But that's kind of it. That is what it is.
I mean, when we first judgment, just how you see with Solomon, his first judgment, he scored the sky with the evil. But then with Rehoboam's first judgment, man, he was down there with the bottom feeders, man, with the shrimps and the lobsters and the eels, man. He crashed, he failed miserably. Man got told, the reason he got told to him, look, you do, if you do what Israel wants for them, they'll follow you and they'll do anything for you. But if you go against them, they'll be against you. And they just said, no, I will be, he's going to turn around and say, I'll be more. Man's an idiot. He said, well, I'll be more pressure on them with my pinky than my father did with his lions. Are you alright in your head, bro? Like, man just said, I'm gonna just, like, he didn't even have to go there. But he went to the demon of just trying to establish his power, which really just sounds like a spoiled, like, little child, really. Right?
It's naive. And who was he getting advice from? Other
rich, snobbish brothers,
unseasoned youth,
brothers and sisters, but you know what I mean, friends.
It's the same generation.
Yeah.
But
they don't know that. Them niggas are probably just Eschatarians, riding like the Moses and Ramesses and the Prince of Egypt, just riding on,
making trouble, fucking shit up,
doing little shit. Alright? And because it's so peaceable at the time, like, oh yeah, that's a real gold, right? We got silver for stone. They don't care.
Yeah, but that's
he grew up. He didn't understand. That's why it says hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make good men. He came up in the good times and one of those weak men. The only judgment fell. It just the kingdom was divided was snatched from out of his hands. And I was grateful when I even forgot about that. The kingdom was split.
Yeah. Well, that's what.
No, I forgot about that. I was thinking that his first judgment was,
that's what
was a bad judgment. But only that's what happened.
Jeroboam came from like, how are you going to do this? Yeah. One. Then it was the spirit. Like, yo, you're going to get the 10. What the 10? It was obviously through the spirit, but then it shows. Why is it even in Ecclesiastes? Why? It's lessons, and it goes to Proverbs. It's always talking, my son. It's lessons to pass on. But then, because shit was running, it was too smooth, it was too easy, didn't receive it. Because why? It's all vanity, and that's the thing and it's funny within this society. What's worshipped the most? Wealth, fame, success. All those things are basically like once you achieve it, it's an end to itself. It's not as great as it seems. There's things that are greater that you're gonna, just like even how you're gonna guide kids going forward, how the generations after you. Because like what are you building? Because why does it say most millionaires, by their grandchildren, like 2 generations later, like they're broke? Because why? You have to set up.
There's a mindset. There has to be that's why the Heavenly Father, what did He give us? He didn't give us, before anything, what He gave us was a promise. That's what He gave us. Going back to Noah, He gave Noah a promise that trickled down to our forefathers, right? Which only then we start with Adam, right? From the lineage. And the reason why I say it starts with Adam is because of the lineage, right? It only falls down to Noah. So when there was a covenant, a promise, when there was a promise and a covenant given to Noah, that was meaning of wisdom, right? Mindset. Right, a way to deal with it, understanding of how to use the earth. Right, the riches come a lot later on down the line. The riches come in, taking over Canaan with the land, right, having the possession of of the Heavenly Father's land, right? The original Garden of Eden, right? When you have the greatest, the fertile crescent. Because we deal with the bounds of Israel, it really goes from Egypt up until down to Saudi Arabia, up until the top of the Deacon. Yeah. So basically you have that great land mass which is wealth. You know, you plant seeds over there, they're gonna grow. Right? You're gonna have loads of gold, silver, because it's good land as well. You're gonna have loads of gold and silver because you have it close to the ports, the seas. Yeah, you're gonna have what? The ability to bring in wealth and to take out wealth, which is a great geographical placement of the Heavenly Father's choice people. Because it allows you to garner a lot of wealth. But prior to that, I say again, prior to that, what before having the money and the wealth and the superiority and the accolades, it was the wisdom. The Heavenly Father gave us the moral statutes and commandments. Right? And that's why, like the brother mentioned, when you have these different nations or different individuals have children, their children are born and they're born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and then by the time their children come around, grandchildren, the money's gone. Because they don't know what they ain't cultivated the go-getter kind of mindset. And they didn't drill that into look, man. I've heard individuals do that. Like I own a air conditioning company or a heat and what the other name for air conditioning or like plumbing, heating and cooling company. And they say there was one individual who said, I gotta be a plumber. You have to go and do the plumbing course, you have to go through the ranks of being a plumber, then only got set up as a what? The CEO of his father's company. Why do you have to go through the ranks? Because they have to understand it on a base level, ground level. That's why you see the Heavenly Father, of course, on such a base level. Right? Because why? He wants us to understand the spectrum. We're meant to be the kings of the earth. God's over everyone. Alright? They're meant to be bringing their wealth over to us. But what do we have to learn? We have to really understand our place in this world. Alright? By being in a place that we're not meant to be.
Because humility is key. Because even Yahweh Shai said, like,
and sorry, just to say, for us to understand our place, because I didn't really get to the point, for us to understand our place in this world, you have to be removed from it, so you know that, wow, this isn't where I'm meant to be. So when you do get to that place, where we've been so many times, you really understand that, look, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to where I went before, because I don't belong there. You know, like the red hot chili peppers under a bridge. I don't know.
Well, just I'll read this. Luke 22:24. There was also a scribe among them, which of them would be accounted the greatest. He said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them. They that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. That he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is the chief as he that doth serve. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth? Is it not he that sitteth at meat? But I am among you as he that serveth. So yeah, even Yahweh Shai is the greatest among us, came what? To serve. So then how much so us who are on a baser level, how should we conduct ourselves? That's why it's like being the mindset of just, like we've already accomplished that level where we're gonna have to even come and kissing our feet, following the books, being locked in the dungeons. That's those things. That's essentially, hey, not the point yet. Those as Yahweh Shai came on the scene, was humble, was basically came as a man in the flesh. Then same for us. The servant's not great as his master. And then what? As Yahweh Shai said, I'll read it again. For whether is greater he that sitteth with me or he that serveth, is it not he that sitteth with me? So I am among you as he that serveth. So Yahweh Shai, who's under the Most High, he's got the most prominent spot. But then was what came as a servant. You already know you got to conduct yourself in the same way. Did you have more or not? 'Cause I was gonna do something else.
I'm going to read something.
Nah, I think
This is, I go to Eatem online, really cool to be or a pair lower, which really speaks to us, right? A pair lower than what we really are, or more humble, depressed, especially to a base in estimation, subject to shame or disgrace, mortified. Alright? Backful 1530 is a backformation of humiliation, or else from late Latin humiliatus, participle to humiliarius, to humble. Right? So it says from humilius, lowly, humble, literally on the ground. So the Heavenly Father is what? Humbling us and bringing us to the ground. So let me read this. There's a book of Deuteronomy 8. I'm going to read the whole chapter and jump in when you see fit. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, and ye shall live, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord Yahweh sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord Yahweh thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what is in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not. Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread alone, bread only, sorry, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord Yahweh doth man live. Thy raiment waxed not old upon me, neither did thy foot swell these 4 years. That's why Jake don't like dirty training. It's in their spirit. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as man chasteneth his son, so the Lord Yahweh thy power chasteneth thee. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For the Lord Yahweh thy power bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains, and depths that spring out of the valleys and hills. And this back in the day was like you hitting a lot of it. You basically got blessed by getting put in a land where there's brooks of water, basically you got drinking water, you got food for your cattle, so your cattle are born upon them. You have a lot of, basically, you have a lot of materials, resources, you know, ability to build nice houses because you have the resource there, the brick, because of the good land, you have a lot of marble, mineral stuff. You're going to say something?
because even with, I remember Kingdom of Heaven, when he goes to Jerusalem, he goes to the Father's land. Then when he irrigates it, and then it's like, it starts off water. It starts off looking desolate. But then once it irrigates, it starts growing with fertilizer on it. That's why it's like, even having that a small portion, you can then expand that influence
over time.
That's the thing, it's with like with what it's a fertile present.
Yeah.
Because of like how the land is, it's fertile.
Give a little, you get a lot kind of. Yeah, that's why even I had a documentary, I think I uploaded a clip a while ago. But it was dealing with down in Ethiopia, how basically there was a portion of land, it was desolate. And I forgot where they just stopped messing with the land, stopped trying to cultivate it. When they left it for a couple of years, basically the rainwater filled the brook, like the whole ecosystem of that landmass started to reform. So back a couple of years later, they had like a time, not a timeline, but you know, contrast of the previous way it looked and the new way. And you can see the abundant moss, everything, wetlands restored, brooks of water flowing, and that really just shows you why there's a land service, why in 7 years it's meant to just leave the land alone. Right? That's the wisdom we got given a great portion along with great wisdom to basically maximize it. That's why we have the body, right, to max out on that wisdom, right, to really show the Heavenly Father being and power. Let me read on to it. It says, verse 7, Deuteronomy 8 and 7, for the Lord Yahweh thy power bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of the valleys, out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, thou shalt not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig grass. See everything I'm saying to build. Then thou shalt bless the Lord thy Yahweh thy power for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not the Lord Yahweh thy power in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, least when thou hast eaten and art full, goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord Yahweh thy power, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage.
No key thing. It's like going through the wilderness. There was that period. That's the thing. Is Jake has a short memory. Going through hardship. What's the precept where it's like times of trouble?
Are you talking about in Kings?
It's in the Apocrypha. Like when
you have to give me a bit more. You have to kind of say around a bit more. Just to say general gist of it.
it's essentially when you're having a hard time, when you're having a hard time, the hardship then you because there's a word, the word I'm wording, I know is wrong.
I do remember it saying like that. It's very hard to hear. So it says, we led thee through the great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, it brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end. That when doing that good. But they had to be brought low and be humbled for humiliation, right? That's the same thing we're going through right now. It served as a figure of things to come. If thou say in thy heart, my power and the might of mine hand have gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember the Lord Yahweh thy power, for it is he that hath given for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth. that he may establish his covenant with thee, swear unto thy fathers as it is this day. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord Yahweh thy power, and walk after other gods, and serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day, that ye shall surely perish, as the nations which the Lord Yahweh destroyeth before your face. So shall ye perish, because ye will not be obedient unto the voice of Yahweh your power. Alright? Of the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy your power. Find it? Maybe Google it.
I don't have enough scripture.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Because it's one of those where I don't remember about it. Okay, what? I'll check. Because there's a word on this.
This is Judges 2 and 14. And the anger of the Lord, Judges 2 and 14. And the anger of the Lord Yahweh was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand against them before their enemies. Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord Yahweh was against them for evil, as the Lord Yahweh had said, and as the Lord Yahweh had sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed. Nevertheless, the Lord Yahweh raised up judges which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a-whoring after other gods, and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord Yahweh, but they did not so. And when the Lord Yahweh raised them up judges, then the Lord Yahweh was with the judge and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies, and all the days of the judge they repented the Lord Yahweh because of their groanings by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. And it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers in following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. So it became a perpetual cycle. That the forefathers before, they made some double down and went harder, man, right? Onto the way of wickedness. And that's why we're in a period that we're in right now, time like never before. Only the children of Israel don't even know they're the children of Israel. You got other people, imposters, basically walking around proclaiming our inheritance to be that of the children of the Heavenly Father, right? So it says, reading on, it says, verse 20, and the anger of the Lord Yahweh was hot against Israel, and he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left and died, that through them I will prove Israel whether they will keep the way of the Lord Yahweh to walk therein, as their fathers did keep it or not. Therefore the Lord Yahweh left those nations out, driving them out hastily, neither delivered them, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua. So this was something that the Heavenly Father did constantly, alright? Testing and proving the children of Israel. Right now we're in the final, this is the boss level, alright? Or shall I say, we're going through the platform, leading up to the final boss fight, being at the hour of temptation. Right? Even now we're right at the tail end. But we're dealing with what was spoken in the book of Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, of what? Of the hour of the beginning of sorrow. Right now the mass mandate's being returned from the earth. You see Hollywood studios initiating, different university campuses, they're doing it, alright? And it's only gonna, Lord willing, it's only gonna form more of a snowball effect to gather more steam as to where they're going to the Nova times are going to be re-implemented, and there's going to be a new pestilence, a great pestilence being brought forth upon the earth. Alright? I got something.
Ezekiel 8, I start from verse 7, and he says, and he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, behold, the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping thing, an abominable beast, all the idols of the house of Israel, portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood them before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. And in the midst, there weren't even like some upstarts, some brat, just, sneaking in a little more like a whatnot. Now this is ancients. So that's like among Jake, it's just, at this point, it's part of Jake's identity for them to what? To fall away, to wander after the gods of the heathen, man, and stray after them. Why? What's it saying? 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel, and in the midst of them stood Jaazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. So yes, even with incense, that's the thing with a lot of observations Israel does, like dealing with incense, you can do it in righteousness or wickedness. So they were doing it what? In wickedness. That's why it's like the high holy days. The left-hand side has our high holy days. They have, the solstices, the equinoxes, the observations of various different gods, ancient gods, heathenist gods, and whatnot. So that's why it's like for Jake, it's what it says, like love and hate. It's like the opposite side of each other. Or something. It's like can flip easily from one to the other.
Yeah, there's a thin line between love and hate.
Yeah, that's thin line. Yeah. And that's how it's for Jake.
Usually, if someone hates you, because they have a great admiration for you. I mean, in some sense, that's what they usually say. Admiration is
love can easily turn into hate. Admiration can turn.
Say admiration is like I'm thinking of a lyric. That's why. Basically, it says like admiration is like a construed way of like hate is a form of admiration. In some shape or form. But kind of like Esau, Esau hates our righteous way. Definitely. I mean, the quote only serves to a certain extent. Because the more I'm dwelling on it, the more it don't make sense. No, the more I'm dwelling on it, the more it don't make sense to me. That's why I'm kind of You know, I'm saying it, and then I'm realizing, nah, that don't really make sense.
So I'm like, it's as far as like admiration.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
why I'm
if
saying I had to.
if someone does something, you know, like you might have looked. Well,
I know. That's why I was thinking about it.
Then after a while, they'll be like, oh, you know what? Wait, they might do something. Like, oh, you're the chosen one. Yeah, Anakin. Yeah. Supposed to. And thing it, the order to the Force, not leave it to him right. Yeah, left to him right. So it's like, you know, the love he has for his brother, he's like, yo, you dumped me then, man. He's like, yo, you're done. You're toast. It's like, you turned our account straight. Anakin lost it.
You got more?
Yeah. So he says, and he brought me into the inner courts of the Lord Yahweh's house, and behold, in the door of the temple of the Lord Yahweh, behold, the porch and the altar were about 25 and 20 men, with their backs towards the temple of the Lord Yahweh, and their faces towards the east, and they worshipped the sun towards the east. So man were in the temple, worshipping the sun like this, bro. That's on a level where you can see why Yahushua would come in the temple and lost them, man. The way Jake can get down, that's some shit you see. You be like, yo, you be praying for the Lord to lay fire down on them. It says, and he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing. Is it a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit abominations which they commit there? And that's why Israel got passed away. It was the lightest thing for them to basically do these abominations, man. It became like, you know, like breathing for them. That's why it's you know, any of the pride they would have had within, you know, observing the laws, they're falling short, man. It's like Yahushua came on the scene and had to be that perfect sacrifice to cover those sins so that, you know, the elect can get in there. And then everyone else through them. And they committed, for they have filled the land with violence and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. Therefore will I also deal in fury. Mine eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears for a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. And yeah, that's why it's, you know, the conduct that Jake's got, because even now, what's the majority of Jake? They're crying out to white Jesus, man. That's their salvation. They're thinking that's the channel of pathway. That's the same, you know, the same cycle. But now it's the final cycle, so everything's turned up to 11. The judgment is turned up to 11. The souls of salvation. Your holy is turned up to 11. The souls of righteousness. What we're having to do, going up and basically, you know, present our body as a living sacrifice, that's turned up because of what? The place we're in. We're in a society where it's righteousness is criminalized, essentially, man. You know, for you to follow through on the road, those prior kingdoms where Jake was able to follow the laws. Now it's like, if you're to try and observe certain laws, let you even for the, what you call it, for, like you're meant to burn up the remnants of war. You're meant to have a kid or a lamb without blemish. And then what? It's like, you know, you feast off everyone in the house, then afterwards you burn up the remains, man. Let you be out in your backyard burning up the remains. They'll, you know, someone's going to come from like doing something. It's late at night, he's burning up.
Oh, it reminds me, I was working at somewhere and a woman comes up to me. She's like, I was standing by the doorway, I think I was chatting. And a woman come up to me and said, hey, call the police. There's a guy praying out there. I was like, what the fuck? I said, yo. I was kind of like, bro, like, you know when you, like, ball just dropped, like, bro, so if you pray in public, remember you're about, like, you're on some fun, like, so you can't even pray over your food, you can't, you know, like, that's how, you know, how, you know, having a connection to a greater power, the greater power in heaven, obviously you should talk about some good things, but basically saying, like, yo, you can't pray. Like, what's going on in this world, man? Right, that's.
What is the British come up with?
Luke 13 and 34. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, which killest the prophets and stonest them that are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not. So basically, even going back to the scripture repeating the Judges, right, by the Heavenly Father, establishing the nation, he said there was a many a time. Oh shit! Being too far back. You know what I mean, man? Yeah, shit, that's my good news as well. Oh, fucking hell. Good news good. My bad news bad. You know what I mean? But now I'm gonna have to do that. But basically, the Heavenly Father attempted on many occasions to gather the children of Israel together. God makes the book of Judges an example. But what wind up always happening, you'd have them being hard-headed, rebellious. The brother read about Ezekiel in the 8th chapter. And when you go into the first opening chapter, Ezekiel, the first chapter, what does it say? Telling Ezekiel, look, prepare yourself to go after the children of Israel. They're hard-headed, impudent children, stiff-necked. I'll send you in the midst of scorpions. Basically saying these individuals, I'm telling you to go and are just, they're full of fucking basically. They are not people they easily communicate with. They're gonna give you a hard fucking time, right? And that's what he was saying. So Ezekiel, what wind up happening to Ezekiel? He ended up dying, man. Most of the prophets of the Lord, anytime they attempted to use the words of the Heavenly Father, it came to, you might as well get the parable of the lending out of the garden. And he said, I'll send my son, or honor my son. That basically goes into on another level. But, it's more or less the heaven, gathering in. He's gathering his brood together. But Jerusalem is stubborn, man. Yerushalayim, city of peace, man. There ain't no peace in that city. What there is disturbing the peace, man. DTP. Throw bowls on them. Throw bowls on them. That's what's happening. They're disturbing the peace in Jerusalem. Throwing bowls on them. Found it?
Matthew 21:33, it says, "Here another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about, and dipped the winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another. Again he sent other
servants are dealing with the prophets of the Lord. He sent forth his servants. The household is the Heavenly Father. And his servants within his house, underneath him, obviously, because of his servants. And he sent different ones to do different jobs, doing the same job, different fashion, but they'll be dealt with in a different manner. Maybe the one that come full-fledged with some real energy, austere manner, they're the ones that be, man, I'm killing this nigga. It might be one that comes stern. They might just be like, man, we just send him away, just kick him in the butt. Just kick him in the butt, kick him in the arse, and send him in his way. Like, fuck, get out of there, man. The other one is stone, see one coming over the hill. Nigga, get from up. And for the one shot, get from him. Start dashing rock up and dashing stone. Yeah, man.
Again he was sent other servants, more than the first, and they did unto them likewise.
Same thing again. They dealt with them in the same manner. mean, who you got to do to get a real gist of what happened? Go to the book of Acts. Book of Acts shows you different things that happened to men of the Lord. Paul, damn near, he died. He got killed. He was murdered. Yeah, I was going to say, damn near, no, he died. No, he got murdered. But my Heavenly Father brought him back to life. All right, Stephen got killed. He had John and Peter. They got, they got beaten. All right. All of them got put to death. All right. But now we're in the same time Acts where, hey, some brothers are still gonna suffer at the hands of this devil, being put to death. But guess the first that are gonna be risen up with the Lord. Yahweh Shai, man. Great honor, man. It's a beautiful thing because even the mindset of brothers dying, again getting murdered, man, for the righteous acts that we're doing, that's wicked, man. You know, the great things that we're doing on behalf of our nation, the thanks we're gonna get is our blood being spilled by them, man. That's some fuckery, man. We need to think about it. Right?
The last of all he sent unto them his son, saying, they will he said again he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all he sent unto them his son, saying, they will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, let us seize on his inheritance.
What comes to mind? You deal with Caiaphas. I know Caiaphas. Caiaphas, where what did he do? He basically acknowledged that look, there must be one prison for the salvation of all people. But they understood they didn't want salvation; they wanted to be under the Romans. So they basically said, "We get him out of the way, we can basically occupy the seat of Moses, and he won't be the king over us." Right? That's why they were basically saying they sold him out to the powers that be. The Romans at the time, they said, look man, this is a man, any man that's a friend of the Lord of Yahweh Shai is not a friend of Caesar. That was me. Yeah. Any man that's not a friend of Yahweh Shai is not a friend of Caesar. He's paraphrasing. Right? So they basically got him up out of the way. And that was basically what the brother was reading about in that scripture. It was basically these wicked niggas, man, basically saying like, yo, let's get rid of the Lord. But really, they didn't understand that energy they had within it. The reason why the Lord was presented upon the earth was to basically save himself. But they didn't want no savior. They were singing, don't save me. What's that? Juicy J. Matthew. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. We'll say, don't save me. Don't want to be saved. God? That was it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was bad.
I looked.
That's an abrupt finish, you know, ending. Don't break that.
Verse 39, and they caught him, cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbands? They say unto them, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their season. Yahushua saith unto them, did ye never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of heaven shall be taken from you, and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken. One whosoever shall fall will grind him to powder.
That's why, through the Spirit, you have the apostles who named great millstones. Right? They said they had various names. They were, channels that different names. The great millstone was the stuff. You deal with a great millstone, it talks about anyone that friend was little one. It was better that a great millstone was put about his neck. cast into the sea. And even when it speaks about the Lord, him being the, you know, the build, I was going to say builders, but him being the cornerstone of our faith, also speaks of him being a millstone, grinding. So basically, anyone that basically, you know, go against the Lord, I was shy, that only be grind to mill. Right now, be done by done by means of the ICBM, the destruction that, you know, and the lake of fire, the laser beams, right? Even a good point is the lake, because it says about the Lord. A good showing of that is when you go into the movie, the day after tomorrow. What's the other one? They remade with Tom Cruise. And the laser beam was all the worlds. In that movie, it shows you when the laser beam done, basically, you know, took all the water out of you and just left you to dust. You know, remember when man was formed, what was man made out of? The dust of the ground and the water. Because it tells you in the book of Genesis, the first chapter, man came, in Peter, it tells you about man coming out of the water. So we understand we're 70% water and now dust of the ground, all the minerals. So when you see that laser beam back, what happens is push with the dust. All the water gets sucked out of them. They get vaporized, right? Turn into that original dust. So that's that millstone grinding. Right? Later, the beams coming. When you read in the book of is it Nahum or Habakkuk, right? He has horns coming from his hand. It's in the word, yeah?
And when the chief priests and Pharisees had heard these parables, they perceived to speak of them. But when they sought to lay hands on them, they feared the multitude because they took him for a prophet. Yeah, so they would cut him. They would cut him. They were emotional. Why? They knew, they deciphered that, yeah, it was going to be rent from them. Because as far as at that point in time, the wicked Pharisees, they had, you know, the leadership over Israel. But again, that was for a season. Why? What was waiting to happen? Was the desolation, man? The temple getting put and smashed. Jerusalem getting put and smashed, man.
Yeah, what they were fighting tooth and nail for, they basically lost their enemies, man.
And then afterwards, what went down?
And then you had chariots, you know, KKP weren't no, you know, run-of-the-mill kind of sacking of a nation. You had the chariots in the midst. It was a real event. It was one of those points in history. You know, where you deal with a milestone, should I say, in the history of Israel, where only everything was in that was the last time it was in the land. Right? And it was a great ending. As it tells you in the second of the 9th chapter, it tells you about the Heavenly Father's things in plain beginning, but at the end with signs and effects.
Ecclesiastes 12, start from verse 9. It says, moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed and sought out and set order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books. There is no end to much study, is weariness of the flesh. So yeah, the making many books, all these different paths and channels, so-called ways to wisdom and knowledge. Hey, it's need to stick with the scriptures, man. It's as simple as that. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High, keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And the whole duty of the Israelite man is what? Fear the Most High, keep His commandments. That's as simple as you need to keep it. What, the wicked scribes and Pharisees, they were employing your part of Esau's world. Same thing now, you got a lot of Jake. They're thinking like, yo, we need culture and all they're trying to build is this on a foundation. There's prime. There's like since controlled demolition, but there's prime C4 all up and down on the foundation shafts and whatnot. It's getting ready to be taken down. This is basically it's like the tower's getting dropped on the wire, man. There was once a point in time having the towers was you were dominating the whole ground of the brick. But then it got decimated and it was done.
Let me read this. Second Ezra 9 and 5. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an ending, the end is manifest. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and the endings in effects and signs. So like I was saying with that 70 AD, you had chariots in the midst. You had, just think of just pull your mind back to the readings of the book of Maccabees, where it basically deals with the angels being, the chariot being in the sky for that, 40-day period, I believe it was. The terrible signs being seen in the heaven. Then they also spoke about angels in golden. It was like the movie, what's that movie? One of our favorite Immortals. Yeah, we had the Greek gods at the time with the golden armor and basically swinging their swords and everything. So it was something like that. So that's how the effects of the Heavenly Father come into play. It's the time of the end. Yeah, with that, man, we came out a bit earlier. The thunderstorm started right when we were about to link up. Yeah, flash them. We kind of went on for 2 hours. Around about an hour and a half or something. Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah. Well, yeah, September, yeah. No, we didn't believe no change. So yeah, Lord willing, it's an edifying lesson. And through the spirit of power, we are speak. So say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Arakar, double honor to the apostles and elders and grace and all as well.
Shalom.
Shalom, man. Lord willing, we are next week. Shalom.